Meanwhile,
warning.
Exactly 5 minutes after the top of the hour, and we've got a Fox News alert. The Department of Homeland Security sounding the alarm, warning a shutdown coming this Friday could mean our national security could be at risk.
But now critics hitting back at Secretary Jay Johnson, saying that he is playing politics at the expense of our safety.
Could that be happening in Washington? Kevin Cork is live with the latest. Kevin, could that be true?
Absolutely, it could be true. We see it all the time, don't we? By the way, the clock is ticking. We should sort of maybe just put a little running clock at the bottom of the screen. Time is running out on fully funding the Department of Homeland Security. I want to point you back to December, though, as I sort of unpack this story for you very briefly. Remember back then, Congress fully funded the rest of the federal government for the full year, but GOP leaders held back funding for DHS in reaction to what many are calling the president's unlawful executive action on immigration. That gives the agency now budget authority only until midnight Friday.
Unless Congress acts, 1 week from now, more than 100,000 DHS employees, Border Patrol, port inspectors, TSA agents will show up to work without getting paid.
A shutdown of Homeland Security would have serious consequences and amount to a serious disruption in our ability to protect the homeland.
Okay, so what happens next? Yes, the battle continues in Congress, but keep this in mind. DOJ lawyers have asked the federal judges to issue a stay, essentially saying, I know that one judge says that this is an illegal action on immigration. We're asking you to issue a stay, in other words, keep status quo, allowing the executive action to continue. But even that is a bit of a contradiction. We'll be watching how that plays out here in Washington, guys.
All right, Kevin. Democrats are blocking the bill, but weren't some of them against the president's executive amnesty business in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to give credit where credit is due, because a lot of people feel like this is a one-party issue. It simply isn't. Take a look at this list. You're going to see some pretty big names on this list from Democratic circles, including Claire McCaskill, Joe Manchin, obviously on that list. We hear him all the time here on Fox News. And so the president does not have full sweeping authority or full sweeping support of his executive immigration amnesty program. And you're going to hear a lot more criticism about that in the days to come, guys.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Thanks a lot, Kevin Cork. But in the meantime, you have these Democrats who have said in the past, I'm not comfortable with the executive order. And the president in the past was not comfortable with the executive order. He said 22 separate times. I wish I could go and do what I want on immigration, but constitutionally, because I'm a constitutional lawyer, I am not involved. The question is, what we'll ask Joe Manchin very shortly, he's going to be on our show, is what happened? When are they going to stand up for the president and look out for their party and their own political future?
And what happens?
The president's done it 2 years.
If by Friday this doesn't get passed here, okay, if it's not approved, this new budget, then are we less safe? That seems to be the big question. You remember Jay Johnson went on 5 programs, including Fox News Sunday here, saying that we would be at a greater risk. But yesterday, White House Secretary Josh Earnest was grilled about what this really means, because there would be individuals that, though they wouldn't be getting paid, would still be showing up to keep our country safe. So what's the deal? Watch.
People who don't collect a paycheck will not do their jobs as well?
No, I'm not saying that at all. The thought that Congress, because they're not willing to do their job, is going to put these patriotic Americans in a position of not being able to collect a paycheck, even though they're doing theirs, even though they're doing the important work of keeping the country safe.
Well, that's contradicting your other argument. You're saying the country will be less safe if these people are not paid, because it'll have a direct effect on national security. But you're saying these people are going to show up and do their jobs even under the onerous condition of not being paid.
There are a variety of impacts from shutting down the Department of Homeland Security. I think one of them, and it's principally an issue of fairness.
It's all about fairness, isn't it? So was Jay Johnson's warning a couple of days ago simply a scare tactic to get Congress to pass this thing? It kind of looks like it, given the fact that there are mixed messages. The intel people say there are no credible threats. At the same time, you got Jay Johnson saying, look, this outfit, they want to blow up the Mall of America.
They said,
you know what else
careful.
is interesting? You know what else is interesting, though? You keep hearing, okay, we need this funding to keep our nation safe. Fine with that. But when you hear that between 2010 and 2014 that this administration has spent nearly $150 million on office furniture and office makeovers, it kind of makes you wonder how well they're doing at balancing their own budgets there. Nearly $150 million.
You bring up a great point. At some point when this crisis, and the latest crisis is over, they got to revamp or revisit what they're doing with the DHS, because nobody's happy there. It doesn't seem to be functioning as one unit as they intended it to be. There's unions involved that don't seem to be motivated, and there's a lot of people who think that it's not doing the job it is.
Well, and a lot of extra chairs and desks and wallpaper are apparently being spent
Right.
in that department.
With wheels.
Does that keep you safe?
Yeah. Well,
so.
one department we